Definitely not therapy. Welcome to another episode of Definitely Not Therapy. I'll be sitting down with a completely different stranger in every single episode to talk about how we completely fall apart at the seams, but how we sort of pick ourselves up and make the best of a bad situation. I'll be having conversations that are real and raw and unfiltered about everything life throws at you and how it affects your mental health. In this episode, I'll be talking to Martin, who had his life completely turned upside down when he was diagnosed with cancer in his 20s. Having bone marrow plasma treatment and a lot of hard work, and I suspect probably a little bit of luck, Martin pulled through and beat this horrific disease. But then for the last 2 years, been suffering with a bad back, with pain. Chronic pain, constant pain, and he didn't know what it was, and he kept going to the hospital and they kept sending him away saying it's muscular. But eventually they did a CT scan and they found a lump on Martin's lung, as well as problems with his chest and with his spine. Martin was floored by this news. Of course he was. He'd just beaten the most horrific thing anyone can ever deal with many years ago, and now he's been hit with this. And as it turns out, the back pain was lymphoma that was missed. Through several doctors, several scans, it was missed. And that resulted in him having to have 20% of his lung removed, which is a very invasive, very intrusive surgery. I can't imagine that was comfortable. And Martin is still struggling with that now. He's still recovering from that now. But during this time, and listen, this all takes a toll. Martin was struggling with his mental health, but he was bottling it up. He was keeping it to himself because he thought he was dealing with it. But the truth is, on the inside, he was falling apart. Martin wants to really show and spread awareness on how this can affect your mind, how bottling things up when you just need someone to talk to, you need to express your feelings. He wants to share what damage that can do. The pressures involved, the loneliness it causes because you feel like you're alone because you're dealing with it on your own with no support. But he used all of that and changed the purpose. He used it as motivation to build a business from scratch, and he's absolutely thriving today. And if I'm honest, it sounds like this business saved Martin's life. So I'm really excited to hear Martin's story today. Definitely not therapy. And is there anything that you don't want to talk about? Obviously, I've got your research sheet that you've sent through, but is there anything that you don't want to talk about?
No, mate. No. I'm here to tell whatever you want to talk about, mate. I'm happy to talk about. Well, it's life, isn't it? It's just how it is. It's not all smooth sailing, unfortunately.
It's not all smooth sailing, no. Although social media would have you believe it is all smooth sailing. So it depends what you look at.
That's very, very misleading, that is, isn't it?
I know. I'm part of the problem. Yeah, I'm post content on social media, but the problem is, you start posting stuff that's real, and then people don't want to know you anyway. So it's like you've got to post the fake stuff, and everything's okay to survive in that industry. It's madness, really. But
I couldn't do what you do, mate. Being a public guy like that you open yourself up to so many people that are complete dicks.
Yeah,
I've said it in the nicest way, but yeah, there's just people out there just nothing good in their life, so they just want to bring other people down as well.
Yeah, you've nailed it there, because it is a lot of the time it is just people that are having their own bad time and they take it out on someone else, and they think they can do that to someone who's on social media because whether they think that we won't see it depends on who you message. We won't see it, so it's just sort of venting. But because 9 out of 10 times the amount of people that I've messaged back from a hate comment, we've had a full-blown conversation, and it's ended up they've just said, do you know what, yeah, I was probably a bit harsh on that, I've had a bad morning, or this happened. And sometimes we don't know what people are going through. They shouldn't do it in the first place, but I think the fact
don't open yourself up to that to start with. Just be kind, mate. It doesn't take a lot, does it? It's just like the content, or if you don't like it, don't follow them. Simple as that.
Exactly. It's actually a really easy principle, isn't it? But just for some reason, nobody adheres to that. It's definitely not therapy. Well, welcome onto the podcast then, Martin. Thank you for joining me in this episode. I'm looking forward to having a chat and going through some of the stuff that you've been through, because looking at your research sheet, you've really been through it. Actually, you've had some real struggles.
Yes, mate. Yeah. Hello, first of all.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. Yes, mate. Yeah, it's not all been, as I said before, smooth sailing, but you just got to get on with it, mate. And you've got no option, as I said.
That's it. But I think that's why things like this are important. And, obviously I'm a little bit biased because it's my podcast and I'm doing it, but I do think spreading awareness is important. I think actually talking about topics which are surrounding, mental health. For men, a lot of things do come back to mental health, whether it's, illness or a marriage breakdown or co-parenting or whatever it might be, loads of a host of different things. But it comes back to mental health because it all affects us. So I think by spreading awareness, and that's all I hope really for these episodes, is that someone will sit there and think, or they'll listen and they'll think, okay, yeah, I can relate to what Martin's been through, or I can relate to what Dan's been through, and actually I feel less alone because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Spreading awareness, mate, is key. I mean, even now, I still think it's a bit frowned upon. I still think men find it very difficult to open up. I still struggle, but it's a lot easier than what it was back when it all started going wrong for me. It's a lot more open now, and you feel a little bit, a bit less of a man sometimes. I think that's quite easy to say. It's hard to talk about how you feel and what's going on in your life, especially to a stranger. But these guys, they're very, very good at what they do, and they make you put you at ease. Well, certainly the people that I spoke to put me at ease and help guide me through these difficult times. So without them, I don't know. I don't think I would be here, and that's no lie.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. It was very, very dark, awkward, lonely time. But don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good in my life as well. But that period of time when I wasn't very well, the first time, I didn't even talk to anyone, really. I didn't even tell my family I was going through it.
Let's go back to that then. So this is when you was in your 20s and you was diagnosed with an illness.
Yes, yeah. Started feeling some pain in my testicle. Started to feel off. Didn't feel myself. The energy levels were gone, so I just went to the doctor. I was quite blunt about it. Just literally took my testicle out and said, "This is wrong. This doesn't feel right." They had a feel straight away. Sent me straight to guys, and I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. About I think it was my 23, 24. But yeah, at that point, I didn't want to open up to my family. Didn't know how to open up to my family, to be fair. So I went through that whole experience without telling anybody.
So you didn't tell anybody? So you went through, she was diagnosed with cancer and you didn't tell anyone?
Not until I came out and I was picked up by someone and I went home. And then I was living with my parents at the time, but I actually explained then this is what happened and this is what's happened, and showed them obviously my wound, and they just why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you do this? I didn't know how to back then. I think I was kind of brought up with nothing against my dad, but he was very much not the easiest person to talk to, shall we say. Lovely guy, but I couldn't open up to him, so I just felt very awkward going to him and explaining that I felt a bit weak, if anything, and I didn't want to let him down. That's how I felt. So I went and done that all, went through surgery, and then decided to explain. Obviously, I've had it. I'm okay. I'm going to be okay.
Right, hang on. Let me just. Can I just stop you here? So, can I just get this right? So, you was diagnosed. You was diagnosed with cancer. You went and had an operation, and you told people after you'd had the operation and said, "I'm going to be okay."
Yeah, because I just didn't let anyone down. I didn't let my mum and dad down because I saw what cancer done to my nan, and I didn't want that. I didn't want that sort of outcome for my dad again. I see what it done to him, so I felt it was easier that way to just keep it to myself. Hopefully, I was going to make it through okay, and luckily that time I did. But probably not the wisest thing to do, but. Unless you're put in that situation, you don't know how to behave.
It's really difficult, isn't it? Definitely not therapy. I know there's something niggling in the back of your mind right now, isn't there, where you're trying to concentrate on this podcast, on this very, very good podcast, this very engaging podcast, but you're thinking, I wish we had a new bathroom, I wish we had a new kitchen, I wish we had a new games room. Well, this week's episode of Definitely Not Therapy is sponsored by Bell Trades. We've all been there, haven't we? We've sat there and we thought, right, next job, we'll get the kitchen done. Next job, we'll get the bathroom done. And we just never get round to it. Why do we do that? We never get round to it. Do it. Now is the time. Contact Bell Trades and they can help. It might not cost as much as you think. Bell Trades have a very simple philosophy: to turn your house into a home that you're proud of. Not where you can think, I wish we had a new bathroom. I wish we had a new kitchen. I wish we had a new games room or man cave. Wish our bedroom was nice. Bell Trades don't need to start from scratch. You don't have to have an entire new room. You might be thinking, I just wish this room was finished. They can look at the room and they can see the potential and they can work with you on it. Bell Trades are specialists in bathrooms, kitchens and entire renovations. You will not be disappointed. And if you think, oh, Dan, I really, really, really want it done. I really want to get that bathroom finished. Or I really want to get a new kitchen, but I just haven't got the money. Life's hard at the moment. Life's expensive at the moment. But there are some really, really reasonable finance options available. Go check their website. It's www.belltrades.co.uk. Or why don't you check them out on Instagram? It's at bell__trades. It's a double underscore. On their Instagram page, they've got some great before and after shots. So you can see the work they do. You can see the quality. And the beauty is they cover the entire Southeast London as well as Kent. So if you're one of them people, you're sat there, you're in Southeast London, you're in Kent, you're thinking, oh, my bathroom. I don't like going in there because it stresses me out. www.belltrades.co.uk. Bell Trades have helped me bring my vision to life. My vision of this podcast, they've helped me by sponsoring. Let them help bring your vision to life in your home, because home isn't just where you live, it's how you live. Get yourself a quote. What have you got to lose, eh? Anyway, let's get back to the podcast, shall we? Definitely not therapy. You felt weak, but I think this is a generational thing, isn't it? Because I'd say the same. My dad's very old school, my granddad's very old school.
Yeah, definitely. I still can't now. Even to this day, I couldn't go and have a heart attack with my dad. It just wouldn't feel right. It wouldn't make him comfortable. It would make me feel uncomfortable. Whereas me with my daughter, I want everything from her. I want to feel every emotion that she feels.
But this is where we're in a really difficult transitional period, because we're now, we can't be men like men used to be, which is you just get on with it, man up, the whole man up thing. We can't be like that anymore. We're now half responsible for all of the same things that we've never been responsible before. So, you know, and this isn't to be sexist or misogynist or anyway, but like the household chores and things, it used to be the man goes out to work, the woman looks after the house, whereas now it's not. The women go out to work, the men go out to work, the women look after the house, the men look after the house. So we're expected to do that and come down onto that level, but also when they're not allowed to talk about our feelings still. For a lot of people,
it's a very tight road, very thin road we walk on, and it's a balancing act.
It's a balancing act, because you've also got to parent your children differently to how we were parented, and make sure they're learning the right way to do it.
I couldn't bring Lila up the way that mum and dad brought me up. I would. It just doesn't make sense. Not in this day and age. You couldn't do it. It's impossible. You've got to cover every aspect of being a parent. You don't want to be too soft. You don't want to be too hard. You certainly can't eat your kids anymore. Not that I ever would have condoned that. But when I was a little sod growing up, a clip around the ear and I stopped it. I stopped straight away.
That's what it was. We were ruled a little bit by fear, and I don't think there's no. I mean, I wouldn't, and things are different now, and obviously, I'd never do that. And I think if you ask any dad now, we just wouldn't do that. We know now that that's not the right thing to do. But also, what is the right thing to do? Because if I say to Harper, right, you're going to be in big trouble if you do that, she's thinking, what does that even mean? What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it?
Exactly. Yeah. There's nothing to back up the threat, is there? Because you can't do nothing.
You can't do nothing, and they know that.
This time I mean it. This time I really mean it.
This is it. And when you've got a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old that knows that, you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Of course, yeah. They get wise to your antics as well very quickly. Yeah. They know when to push the boundaries.
They keep you on your toes, definitely. So you was like 22, 23. You'd had the operation. You'd sort of come out the other side. You was doing okay. You was given the clear. But what kind of mental strain did that put on you, being that you didn't have a support network to deal with that? You just had to deal with it on your own.
Very, very difficult. Very, very lonely time. Obviously, keeping it from friends and family was my decision, but with that, I had no one to talk to. I was literally talking to myself at night, saying, "You're going to be all right, mate. You've got this." And there was no outlet as such. It was just a build-up of horrible emotions and worry and stress and not wanting to let people down. I just wanted to get through it, so I didn't have to give mum and dad bad news. That was all I was really thinking.
Yeah.
Just get through it. Give them the good news. Then everything's going to be okay. It was for a little while, but we'll get onto that, I'm sure, after this.
So you're in your 20s. You've gone through that, and you're sort of okay. You've gone through that kind of mental. I mean, even at that age though, and back then, people didn't talk about it. So it wasn't necessarily even that you might have even known that actually this was that it would cause you any mental health.
Yeah. It certainly started my mental health struggles early 20s. I think going out every weekend in your early 20s doesn't help. I think the drink and the booze, and that coincide with stuff that's on your mind. It's a snowball effect, and it can sort of consume your life very quickly, and it did. And I found myself in a very, very dark place for quite a period of time, to be fair.
So was that after you'd had the operation? Was this like a celebration of like, I've still got my life, I'm just going to go and enjoy it and have blowout after blowout?
Yeah, exactly that. I didn't know when to stop. That was the problem, because as soon as I did stop, I would start bringing the feelings and how I felt going through it back. And the only time to get through it, my way to get through it was just go out and go on a 2-3 way bender, which was not good. Wasn't good, but it's the only way I knew how to deal with it. Yeah.
Well, this is the problem. Like, how do you deal with that? No one knows really, because every single person is different, and everyone's going to receive that.
Some people have, as I said, as a network around them that can coddle them and get them through it. At that time, I didn't, and obviously when it come back, that was even worse, that one.
So this is we jump into, say, from the age of like early 20s. So then what happened from there?
I did okay for about 3, 4, 5 years, and then I started getting some sort of aches and pains in my back. So I thought it was a normal me getting older. I'm 28. I wish I could be 28 again, but I started feeling pains in my back. I started struggling with work because obviously I'm a builder. Picking up materials, I started getting pains in my back. So I went to the doctors. They sent me off some scans and tests, and it turned out that the cancer had returned, but it was into my back. It was into actually my spine. So I was having to have the treatment that I got was bone marrow plasma injected into my spine, which was basically they would take bone marrow out my back. So they were putting a needle in to take a bone marrow out my back, sort of regenerate it in the labs, and then re-inject it back into my back to fight the cancer cells. And that, when I say that is painful, still to this day the most painful thing, it is unbelievably painful. I don't wish that on anybody, because you're getting injected once, and then when they go back through for the vertebra, it's unreal pain, and that was very, very dark as well. But
you moved on a little bit from here. So did you suspect at all if you started having like a bad back and you'd had cancer before? I started to feel like I did when I had the testicular. The lack of motivation, the lack of energy, always tired, always aching. I thought, and I got a feeling. I just had a feeling something was wrong. So that's why I went to the doctors. They did some tests. They didn't diagnose it straight away, but as soon as they sent me up for some scans back up to guys, I was seeing an oncology consultant within like 5-6 weeks. So off we went again, as I said. But that one was more painful than emotional. But the pain, I can't explain to you as to how bad that was. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, that going through that again. And being that you're, a builder type guy, builders are known for being, quite rugged, quite manly. You can deal with a lot of pain. You sort of put your body through it with, lifting stuff and throwing stuff around all day. So for you to say that it was painful, like,
mate, just the thought of it now, after I've seen I've got goose pimples. It just takes me straight back to just laying on that bed, and when they jab you, oh my god, it's just
Well, I don't like needles. I don't like needles at the best of times. But
well, you say that, but we're coming along, mate.
we're coming up. People always say that. Yeah, they're like, you always say you don't like needles, but you got tattoos all over your body. But
exactly,
it's a different. It's a different type of pain, though, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. It's that pain I can live with, mate, 100%. But no, I wouldn't like to go through that again. Anyway, the outcome was still good. My cancer cells would come down. My white blood cells that were through the roof come down, and I was given the all clear again. Lucky enough, without having to go through like any chemo or radiotherapy, it was all down to them injections. So as painful as they were, they've done the trick.
They saved your life, yeah. And I'd argue, I mean, you're there's got to be an element of. I don't want to say like an element of luck. There must be an element of luck, the fact that you've had cancer twice and cleared it twice. Like, not many people can say that.
Yeah. It's not a record that I want to boast about, but yeah, 100%. It's
but
I'm glad I come through it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's definitely not something that you'd want to boast about. But what was it that you think? Was it just luck, or was it that as soon as you felt something that might be wrong, you was like, "No, I'm going to get down to the doctor." You was on it straight away.
Yeah. I think that having them similar feelings and symptoms I had before was definitely a bit of a hang on, something's not quite right. This is reminding me of when I was ill before. So I think I definitely catching it early is the key. If you're, well, I'm sure. Everyone knows this, but if you're not feeling right, especially whether it's your testicles, whether it's women, it's the boob, if you're not feeling right, get yourself checked out, because without a doubt, it saved my life. Yeah, twice.
That's incredible. Did you have a support network the second time around? Did you tell people?
The second time it was a little bit. I had a partner at the time who helped me through it, and I opened up to a few people. I had to tell some people that I was working with, obviously, while I was having time off, and when I come back the next day, I was obviously not as mobile as I should be. But yeah, again, I still didn't open up to too many people. I just feel like I was. I don't know if it's weak. I don't know if that's the right word. I didn't want to be different to anybody else, basically. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to be treated differently or people to look at me in a different way. I just wanted to be one of the lads still on site, because I was still in my early 20s. I didn't have my own business. I was still just one of the guys on site. I didn't want that to change.
Didn't want to, because it would be looked at as a form of weakness in some respect. You would probably look at it as a form of weakness, but actually, if you did open up and speak to your mates at the building site, you'd probably have that camaraderie where they would have then taken the mickey out of you for whatever reason, because that's what they do.
Going through that time, that's when I started looking at sort of men's mental health out there at the time, which was I'm 38 now, so we're looking nearly 10 years ago. It was in its infant stages. I know, I mean, you'd have to do a lot of research to get some help. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you can put it on your laptop within 2 clicks, you got someone on the end of the phone. But then it was more, you had to send your emails, then you had to put why you're feeling like this, and it was a long process. Which I don't think some people that were struggling at that point would have got that far. I think they would have made a decision not to be around anymore. So I'm very grateful that men's mental health is getting better and better and more important. Yeah, especially on the building site as well. There's a lot of help on building sites now.
Oh, there is. Okay, that's interesting.
Loads.
What sort of thing are you talking about then? What do they have now?
They've got brochures out now. They've got leaflets out. They've got just dedicated to phone lines, texts. So if you don't want to talk to anyone, you can just text someone, and you'll just have a text conversation. Okay. Some people find it easier to have a text conversation rather than be on the phone. So there is people out there. Most foremen have been trained into men's mental health and to pick up signs. So it's becoming more and more awareness. People becoming more and more, and pick up the signs. So I can now see when someone's struggling. I can kind of see it, which is weird, but it's only because I've gone through it myself. So you kind of see little hints where someone's struggling here.
Yeah, especially if you've been through it as well, you're more inclined to kind of reach out to someone, because if you might spot the signs, but you might not have been through it. You might just think, give them the benefit of the doubt, they're probably fine. But actually, if you've been through it yourself, it's probably it helps to spot those signs, but also gives you that confidence to say, I'm just going to go and check. And I have a lot of people now that check, and I'll get 2 messages. I'll always get a message which is how are you doing? Are you okay? And I'll say, I'm fine. And then I'll get another one, and it will say, no, but are you really okay? Are you giving me the typical man okay, or are you really okay? And it's always a follow up, and that's from people that have been through it, that know that they would do the exact same thing, which is just say I'm fine. Yeah, of course I'm fine. So I think that's really incredible that building sites are doing that, and I'm sure there's lots of other companies and
definitely. I mean, if there's one good thing to come out of this sort of stuff, it is that men's mental health, because we're supposed to be the breadwinners, supposed to be the strong types. We can't really show weakness even now, but just to know that there is help out there, and this help saved me and saved my friends. I know friends that have been saved and just started with conversations, and now they're turning their life around just by getting that initial help when they needed it the most, and now turning their life around, not doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. Do you know what I mean? Moving on with their life, which is ultimately what anyone wants, not to be suffering, not to be in pain.
Well, it's taking a kind of a temporary problem and sticking a permanent solution on it, which is what it is. And unfortunately, a lot of men, they do die by suicide because of that. And listen, all we can do is spread awareness and hope that we can help men to feel less alone. That was a big part for me, was you feel alone. You sort of force yourself. You did it. You chose to put yourself in a situation where you didn't discuss your cancer diagnosis with anyone, but that made you feel even more like it's a double whammy, isn't it? Because you've made that decision and you're dealing with this, and because you've made that decision, you're then feeling really lonely, and you just feel that emptiness and loneliness. And it's like, we just do that as men. We do that as men. So to be able to talk to people like you and get into, to listen to your story, and to be able to hopefully reach people that are sat there thinking, it may not be that they've been through a cancer diagnosis. It might not be as big as or as scary as that. It doesn't need to be that big or that scary. Sometimes it's the littlest things can push someone over the edge, but you can still feel loneliness is loneliness. Pain is pain. It doesn't. Everyone's journey is their journey. So I think it's 100%. I think it's good to definitely help spread awareness, and it's paramount that people like you come on and talk about it, because
anytime you need me, mate, I'll be more than happy to do this. So, but it is.
So what help did you get though? So when you said that you've had help and you got help, and you've had friends that have had help, what did that look like? How did you do that?
It was, I'm sure you'll know, it's Andy's Man Club. They saved me, mate. There you go. I've got mine in the dressing room, mate. I've got it all. I've got leaflets everywhere. I think I've got them down here.
Yeah.
So this is the sort of stuff that I'm putting, that are going around on building sites as well. Just like leaflets like that. So there's little cards.
They do incredible work, and this is something I have spoken about. This I've had actually 3 or 4 people on the podcast who go to Andy's Man Club. I've had 1 or 2 who are facilitators for Andy's Man Club, and what they do is just incredible. So, and this is something I will ask this, and I would tell this story and talk about this to anyone that does go, because it's interesting to hear. It's interesting to hear your side of it, but also I want it to be known that it's not that scary. You basically need to be brave for 10 minutes. Because for me, the biggest thing I would get, the reason I know about Andy's Man Club is because my DMs would be, if you look through my comments from a year ago, or even over the last, you'll find someone in most videos that have said, just contact Andy's Man Club, go and see Andy's Man Club, go look online. And to be fair, I did look online, and this was a long time ago, and they didn't have one local to me. But even with that being said, it's like we've touched on it, it's scary. Talking is scary. Opening up is scary.
It's the hardest bit of going through all I've been through. Opening up is the hardest part, and I still struggle now to open up, to just let someone in and to show that vulnerability. It's still it's not frowned upon anymore, because there's help out there, but you still, as me as a person, I still find it hard to open up, and I shouldn't.
If it's ingrained in you, it's ingrained in you. Like, we can't help, that is who we are, like, by nature. It's but we're trying to buck the trend within ourselves, which is really difficult. But that's the reason I didn't go, because I thought, you know what, I can't even really open up. I can sit and talk to a camera where I know there's no one around. I can talk to a camera. I can post that. I don't care how many millions or whether 2 people see it, because that's just me and a camera, and I can be vulnerable. I can be honest. But sitting in a room full of other men, I was like, I just wasn't brave enough to do it. And and listen, I really wish I was. I really wish I was, because some of the stories I've heard, I think I would have definitely come out the other side a lot sooner.
Of course.
But it's just taking that 10 minutes of being brave. Just be brave, go through that door, and actually you immediately get this support network of other men who can relate.
Yeah. Not only the people there that are running the sessions, the people around you, you feel part of a family. You're all sort of in the same boat, and that's why you shouldn't feel bad or awkward to opening that up. But I get it, mate. I get it. Opening up to anybody, I find still very difficult.
Yeah. I've even found these podcasts difficult, because this for me, I've got to come on here and, I expect you to be vulnerable and talk a little bit about your feelings, but I can't expect you to do that. And then just for me to be a closed off, I've got to be, I've got to get myself in that mind frame of, okay, I'm going to have to open up as well, and I'm going to have to talk about some stuff. And
the only difference between me and you, mate, is you've done it all publicly. Well, I've done it behind the scenes. You've done it in front of millions of people. So, as I said before this, I couldn't do what you do, and fair play to you, mate. You've completely changed. All the funny videos are great, but I certainly relate a lot more to the stuff that's serious. I can certainly get onto your level like that. Damn sight quicker than the funny videos. As funny as they were, and they were funny, the stuff when you're vulnerable related to me a lot sooner and a lot more deeply.
Yeah, I get that. I get that a lot. I get told that a lot, which is good. See, the thing for me is, I love making the funny stuff, because I've always laughed at myself. I've always been the first one that I'd rather make the joke about myself than letting someone else do it. And I like that feeling of making someone laugh. If someone's in a bad place and I'm the one that's made them laugh, and I get a message saying, "You've really cheered me up today," and that's what happened. That's what gave me a bit of a passion for it. I've always made content. I've always loved making content. And then when lockdown hit, we was making these silly little videos. For me, it was a massive escape. 10 minutes of an escape every single day, while I genuinely thought my world was, I didn't know what was going on. Was pregnant, bought a new big house.
Lockdown was crazy.
Lockdown was crazy. But I was spending 10 minutes a day just being an idiot. And I was like, this is brilliant. Like, this is absolutely brilliant. And I'll get so many messages saying, I'm trapped in my flat. I'm not allowed out. Haven't got a garden, but sitting watching you is cheering me up. And that is like, okay, so that is what I do it for. But the problem is then when you do switch, and it's like, okay, I can't just make the funny stuff, because my confidence went. I don't mind. I've been open about that. My confidence is still gone.
Everyone, mate. It would throw anyone out. What you actually went through, but publicly, it would change the way you think and feel about making content, good or bad, or funny or sad. Do you know what I mean? You put that down in your mind. Yeah. And you put down yourself, things you don't feel as good about yourself, do you?
That's it. And I was in a situation where I was doubting myself, and I was like, but I also didn't want to give up. I felt like I'd lost so much. And I was like, I just will not lose another thing. I will not lose another thing, and I will fight for this social media career, because it was my baby, it was my dream. And I knew the benefits. I knew that it gives me time with my little girl. And that was, for me, the most important thing. So it's the only thing I can hope from the fact that I do post stuff, and I am in a much better place now, and I'll still sometimes post something that's a little bit emotional and a little bit vulnerable, but not necessarily for my own benefit, but it will be because I still want other people to see it's still okay to, like, even if someone is doing better, it's still okay to talk about the bad stuff. And I'll still get comments even now, even when I've shown what I've been through. I'll still get comments which are people saying, oh, why are you crying on the internet? Why just man up? And it's just, it mortifies. I just think it's, but the reason, it's, mate, honestly, it's the worst thing. And some of these people, and I'm like, I remember having I made a big deal of him because, well, I've got a big internet following and he hasn't. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to fucking go in. I'm going in on you now. And it's this guy and his profile picture, he was six-pack and pecs, and I'm a chubby guy and I don't care. I'm just quite happy. Like, I'm going to the gym, but it's for my mental health. But whatever. Yeah. But he was like coming after me, constant. I was like, nah, I'm going to, and I was like, I just made this massive point about, you might have a six pack and you might go to the gym and you might be able to go online and put your comments, but I'm braver than you. I'm braver than you because I'm standing here being a man, being emotional, telling my story, and you're hiding behind a keyboard. And I didn't get another message from him, to be fair, but
no, he didn't, mate. Stuck it straight on him. He didn't like it.
That's it. It's like, but I just hope that if someone is sat there and they're thinking it is hard to open up, and I get that. I get it's really hard to talk, especially if you're a man. But if I can put myself out there and millions of people have seen that and seen how vulnerable I was, well, that's to millions of people. All you've got to do is talk to one person. Just talk to one person. Or you know, talk to a friend, talk to someone, and that's the first step. If you can then get the courage to go to an Andy's Man Club, as an example, well, that's probably changed your life. Going to an Andy's Man Club probably saved your life.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. That's why I've got this sort of stuff everywhere. I've got so many of the bands because I love them. I can't speak high enough of them because they've saved me from. Well, I don't want to think about the alternative, but I think we all know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So if I can just raise awareness on their behalf, they save my life. It's a no-brainer. Do you know what I mean? And it only takes, as you said, that one person. Even if it's just one person, what's going through me and you were talking about tonight. If it's just one person we save, brilliant.
Well, it's been worth it. It's been worth it, 100%. Yeah. Because that's still one life. I think that's the only way that we're gonna bring the suicide rate down. Yeah, I think and
it's a frightening rate, mate. It's
isn't it 12 a day? It's 12 a day in England, just in England.
Just for feeling bad, just because it's too much. That's 12 families destroyed, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Every single day. Every single day.
So sad.
It's definitely not therapy.
Even as well as dapper laugh mates. I mean, that's grunge, close to throat. I was one of the first joiners. I remember the numbers were like 237, and I just go back and it just goes 1,000, 10,000, 30,000, and now it's massive.
Yeah,
and fair play to him as well. I mean, how he's changed his life as well.
Do you know what? I reached out to Dapper. Dapper was one of the original ones that got me into, without realising, but got me into social media. So back in the old Vine days, there was Dapper Laugh.
7 seconds, wasn't it?
That's it, 7 seconds. It was Dapper Laughs, there was Stuggy and Aaron Kraskell were the three main ones I would watch, and I just think, do you know what? If these guys can do it, I can do it. I've got something about me. I've got like a funniness about me. I can do this, and they sort of give me the confidence to do it. And I'm friends with Aaron now, as it turns out. I'm friends with Stuggy now, and I've met Dan O'Reilly, and I met him.
Yeah, I see that you went to one of these events, didn't you, a couple of weeks ago?
So I went to his event, which was Men and Their Emotions. It was the launch the proper launch of the charity, and I think he's got like 50 odd thousand men in there now, which is an incredible amount, and it's for such a great cause. But yeah, I met Dan recently, and even it's quite interesting because my friend was with me at the time, and when you do social media and you meet certain people and you're like, oh yeah, I'm friends with this person, or I know this person, a lot of people that aren't in those circles are like, yeah, whatever. But we was just about to do my photo shoot on the red carpet. So he'd done his photo shoot, my friend had done his photo shoot on the red carpet, he'd come off, I was about to go on, and Dan had come down. Bearing in mind it's Dan's night, Dan O'Reilly, it was his night. So everything stops for Dan. So I didn't get to go on the red carpet. I was like, oh, can you just hold off? Dan's going to come down. But Dan stopped. As soon as he saw me, he was like, he stopped everything. He stopped everything, came over, shook my hand, gave me a hug, and was like, how are you? How's it going? Thanks for coming. And just stopped everything. And it was like, he didn't have to do that. He could have just give me a nod and carried on, and I'd have been fully understanding because it was his night. He had a big show to prepare for. But he stopped everything. He took 2-3 minutes out of his night to just stop and have a little chat. And my mate who was with me was like,
that was cool, man.
Bearing in mind, he was meant to be taking photos of me all night and had the camera. I was like, oh, can you take some photos of me on the carpet and film it? And then I said, did you get any photos? He went, no, because I was just watching in awe at the fact that he just come over and said hello. But I mean, I reached out to Dan because I've been a fan. I know I make content, but I'm a fan of these guys. I look up to them massively. And I reached out to Dan because I was there when he went through like the most horrific times, and he was suicidal. He lost his dad. He lost everything. He lost his wife. Yeah, and I reached out to him.
To his podcast. I know the stuff he's been through. He's so dark again. Do you know what I mean? It's dark, but in different aspects. Do you know what I mean? People, doesn't always have to be the big C. It can be stuff that he went through, losing his dad. Obviously, that was awful for him. I think that's when it started to unwind for him.
But that's with that's it, and that's the pressure, and it was his addiction. That's the thing for him. It was his addiction, and he did go off the rails. And it's like, I just but he took the time out to voice note me back and was like, okay, this is what I would do if I were you. Because I was like, look, my whole thing was him. He reinvented himself. I know he'd come out and he'd done the turtleneck and he's done the TV thing, but he can still look back at that now and make light of that. But he got his wife back. He's got the dream car. He's had the dream car. He's had the dream home. He's got his kids. He's got another kid on the way. It's like, how did you do that? Because I can't physically. I know he had the support from his wife eventually. It's not that she didn't support him, but he was just he had an addiction, and that was what drove him to the ground. But it's like, how did you do that? How did you reinvent yourself? And he gave me some really good advice, which, you know, I've probably not taken all of it because I've still been dealing with my own struggles, but he took the time out, and I think that says a lot about him as a person.
Yeah, no, I've not met him. I'm unlikely to. Although I'm going to go see him in Folkestone in November. His new comedy tour, so might bump into him. I'll say hello anyway. But yeah, he just comes across as such a nice guy, genuine guy. More than anything, he doesn't come across fake at all. It just seems to what you see is what you get.
Yeah, exactly. That is it. He's a very like down to earth guy, and I think he's also got a bit about him that is like, which I think you have to just not care really what people think, because everyone gets negativity. Negativity, but
people, there's always negative people out there. Before I said this before we kicked off this evening, there's people out there just got nothing better to do with their life, and it's just because they're going through bits, they decide to bring other people down publicly.
Yeah, this is it. Well, funny enough, I've just had Nick Smith. I don't know if you follow the Smithy family. Nick and Jack have been down today filming a podcast, so they was on just before you. And it was just, I mean, it was chaos. Obviously, it was Nick Smith, but
it normally doesn't in a lot around.
It's chaos. But we went into the same thing. It's like they get so much hate, but you just have to a little bit think, do you know what? The problem is everyone's like, go and get a real job, go and get a real job, go and get a real job. But actually, a real job is earning money and providing. Doesn't matter what you do. If you're earning money for it and you're providing, then that's it. And you have
to carry on doing what you want, mate. Don't listen to them. Don't let them get into your head. They're not worth it.
No, easier said than done sometimes, though. But you've come out the other side. You've obviously you've been through some real hardships, and you've struggled with your mental health. You've been to Andy's Man Club, which is just incredible, and they've saved your life. You've turned your life around. So how are you now? How do you cope with mental health on a daily basis now? And
I talk. Not always to professionals or Andy Man Club, but I talk to my partner downstairs who's got a busted leg at the moment, so not great timing, but if I'm feeling down, she'll pick up on it straight away.
Yeah.
She's on it, do you know what I mean? And she'll pick up when I'm struggling. Or if works, he's a bit too much on top, or I'm struggling with stuff, she's on it. And she'll just say, talk to me. What's wrong? How can I help? How can we get you through it? And it's just getting it early, dealing with it, just processing it in your head, and then there's an outcome. There's always a way around something. It's just figuring it out.
Yeah. It's nice that you've got that support as well. And someone that spots the signs that where you need the support as well.
Yeah, she knows straight away. She'll know within 10 seconds me walking through the door. If I've had a good day, if I've got something on my mind, if I'm not doing too well, she'll know. So that's built up over time. But yeah, brilliant girl. I will get her up here, but she can't get upstairs.
She can't. So what happened to her leg then?
She come off the hills.
Oh no.
Dismounted the hills, and broke her knee into her tibia. So her knee literally broke into her bone, and she's wrote herself off for quite a few months.
Oh, that is not. Yeah, that's not good. I've had a tibia. Is it a fibia? Tibia and fib. Basically, my leg was broken.
It's the kneecap into the tibia. She didn't break both of them.
Oh, she didn't break both of them. Well, that's lucky. Yeah, I had a tibia fibia break, but
Yeah, I've done a tibia fibula myself, mate. That's something else.
It's not fun. It's not fun, is it?
I was off for about a year, believe it or not.
Oh, well, at least you're in a good situation in terms of you've had that, which means you can really sympathise with her and give her all the support she needs.
Yeah. It's again, that's going to be a struggle. That's lonely at times because you're just stuck downstairs. I was stuck downstairs, and it's middle of the night, and you're in pain. I mean, it's not pleasant.
No,
it's not pleasant at all.
I was 18 when it happened to me. I was 18, and I was just stuck downstairs, and I couldn't get her out. So I have a wheelchair, and I remember. So this is probably actually quite traumatic for me. But I haven't realised it was traumatic. If that, like, going through what I went through, being 18, I was run over. I died in the ambulance. I was in a real bad way.
Oh, mate.
But I made it. I'm still here. But I never, because I was so young, I never really thought, I've got another chance at life, because I was too young and naive. I didn't really know. But what I couldn't do is I couldn't play football. I couldn't do all the things that I wanted to do because I had a broken leg. I was bedridden. I was in a wheelchair for 6 months. But I remember I used to pick on my brother. Because you do, I was the older brother. I used to pick on him when he was little and try and make him a man. I guess, which as works now because he's massive and he could tear me apart. He won't take any rubbish from anyone. But when we was younger, and this was his sort of opportunity to think, okay, well, Dan's in a wheelchair now. He can't do anything. And everyone had to, mum had to go out to work, dad went out to work, my brother was working at that point, but I had nothing to do. And this was back when I was 18. So we're talking like 20 or 25 years ago or something. And he took the PlayStation and put it on top of the stairs. He took the TV remotes, put them on top of the stairs, and I couldn't do anything all day. And I wheeled myself out, and mum and dad, they all come home, and I was just asleep, slumped in my wheelchair at the bottom of the stairs, looking up at my PlayStation. And it's probably traumatic, but it was funny, but it just wasn't funny at the time because I was like, I had nothing to do. But that was his revenge. That was his revenge. Like another time, I don't know. Maybe this is why I've got a dark sense of humour. These things are just coming out now, but I remember that's my brother. My dad pretended to fall out the loft, and I was at the bottom of the stairs going, "What can I do? I can't do anything." And then my mum was another night was screaming because she dyed her hair. And she pretended her hair had fallen out, and she was at the top of the stairs crying, and I was like trying to crawl up the stairs to help my mum. I was like I was in a wheelchair with a broken leg, but that was how dark they're a loving family, but that's
sounded, mate.
The trauma is real. I don't know. That's obviously what gives me my dark sense of humour. Because to be fair, looking back, they're quite funny. That's quite funny.
It's quite funny to be fair. Not at the time.
Not at the time, no. So how's life for you now? How's life going for you now? Because you started your own business. So did you take all the kind of those struggles and you kind of refocused and used it for good?
Yeah, that's exactly that, mate. 2023, I think I went live with Bell Trades.
Yeah.
Just started with one-man band, and now we've got 7 guys working for us. So, good strength to strength. I'm on a business called the Trade Mastermind. Joseph Fernandez. I don't know if you're aware of him. He won The Apprentice all them years ago.
I've never watched it really, but I watched it back in the day. But
it's made me think about business and how you construct your business, run your business, where you want to grow your business. It's giving me that insight and help to take things to where they're going. And the sky's the limit. I want to turn over $1 million one day. If not this year, next year I'm going to nail it.
Well, I believe in you, mate. And I see that you've got. Are they awards up on the wall behind you? Have you?
Yeah. It's all different modules of the course. The biggest one is that one there.
Yeah.
He's getting off the tools. Getting off the tools is my best accomplishment so far. Being able to focus on the business and really drive it to the next level. So I wouldn't be able to do it without their help. So if anyone on the building game is in 2 months starting a business and you need a bit of help, look these guys up, mate.
Well, that's incredible. Well, I'm glad that things are all going really, really well for you and well deserved. I think the fact that you bottled all that stuff up for such a long time and dealt with some of the most horrific things a man can be told, and you dealt with that in your 20s. twice. So, mate, massive respect to you. And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Anytime, mate. You need me back for anything, mate. You've got my details. Get in touch, mate, and we'll do this again.
No worries, we'll do. Well, look, have an amazing evening. Tell your other half that I hope she has a speedy recovery, and send them my best wishes. And I'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate that.
Take care, Martin. All the best, mate.
Mate.
It's definitely not therapy. He beat cancer twice. Can you imagine? He's beat cancer twice, and the first time he did it on his own. But this isn't an advert for bottle things up. This is an advert for talk, because that's come back in later life, and he's had struggles and he's had mental health issues where he's had to then go to Andy's Man Club and open up and talk. He's had issues then in later life where he's had to then go to Andy's Man Club. He's had to find a group. He's had to find a support network. And that's fine and that's good, because he's then thrived from that. But if we can get to a point where we don't need to do that. But really appreciate Martin coming on and telling his story. He's thriving now. And we really appreciate you guys watching the episode and listening to the episode. So we'll see you in the next one.